No two people think alike. Some of us are optimists by nature, while others are just pessimists. Philosophers, psychiatrists, and psychologists have been studying for decades to understand why we are the way we are, why we think the way we think. And in modern times, this author, Dr. Carol Dweck, is one of the most influential scientific minds when it comes to understanding the human thought and why we think the way we think. And in this book, she distinguishes the difference between having a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. This book was actually suggested by my first mentor, and he told me that I myself have a lot of limiting beliefs and that it would stop me from achieving most of my goals and getting to the next level in my life. And so in today's video, I want to discuss first what the difference is between having a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, how you guys can adopt a growth mindset of yourselves, and why progress beats perfection every single time. So without further ado, let's get started. People with fixed mindsets believe that they're born with certain levels of ability, right? And typically they shy away from challenges that may expose their weaknesses in certain situations. They don't typically respond well to criticism, and they resent other people for their success. Basically, their own thought process limits their potential. But on the other hand, people with a growth mindset believe that they can actually develop their abilities over time. They see challenges and mistakes as an opportunity to learn and to grow from them. And the difference is, when others are successful, they actually look for the information that led them to be successful. And they try and learn from that and adapt those styles into their own journey, into their own growth, and try and basically learn from the mistakes of others. I had a fixed mindset towards a lot of things growing up, and the biggest one for me, when I was young especially, had to deal with mathematics. I was always told that I was never good at math and that I would never be successful because of this. And this was reflected because of the class that I was put in, right? I was put into the lowest set for mathematics. And typically this is for like slow learners and people who just typically struggle with math. And teachers would often write to my report comment, "He's so hardworking and he has so much potential." And this really pissed me off. I absolutely hated reading that. And I can't believe I look back now and I actually believed that if I was never good at mathematics, I'd never be successful. And I actually believed that because of one teacher he actually led me to believe that if I didn't pass his math class, I'd never be successful. And throughout high school, all I can remember is that I wanted to prove him wrong. I really wanted to prove him wrong. And in the end, I did pass. And now I'm studying in a Russell Group University in the UK, so I could say having that growth mindset definitely helped me a lot. And a beautiful quote from the book that Carol mentions is, "Did I win or did I lose?" And she says that's the wrong way of thinking. So instead, you need to ask yourself, did I make my best effort? And in the case of math, I absolutely did. Now look, the good news is that you guys can also change your mindsets. And the first step to do this is to have self-awareness. You guys need to recognize your inner dialogues and distinguish whether they're fixed mindsets or growth mindsets. You need to recognize your choices. What I mean by that is that you need to choose to put in more effort into your learning and understanding from your mistakes. So start by talking back to your fixed mindset voices, right? So in situations where you would tell yourself you don't want to do something because you're scared of the result or you're scared that you're going to fail, just tackle that voice, right? Combat that voice and basically rebuttal and tell yourself that you can actually do that said task. So what I want to do is put up a nice sheet and show you guys a conversation that we can have between a growth and a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset will typically say, "You can't do this. You don't have the talent." A growth mindset will say, "I think I can learn to do this within time and with the right effort." A fixed mindset would say, "What if you fail? You'll be a failure." And a growth mindset will say, "Most successful people fail along the way," which is true. Fixed mindset would say, "If you really had this talent, this would be really easy." And a growth mindset, they would say, "Champion sports people spend hours training and it's not easy for them." Take Usain Bolt, for example. And so developing your growth mindset is something that's going to take practice and something that you can develop over time. So I want you guys to actually practice hearing both voices. I know that might seem quite hard to do, but practice hearing both voices. And every single time, if you can, choose to follow the growth mindset. What you'll come to find is that naturally over time, when you overcome more and more challenges, your growth mindset will just become very natural to you. and you won't typically shy away from challenges because you know that at some point you're going to have to take the next level to get to the next point in your life. Which brings us to the next point, which is prioritizing progress over your perfection. This is very important, and the very first step again comes down to your self-awareness. You need to know the differences between your strengths and your weaknesses. And for those of you who struggle to distinguish the two, what you can do is you can do a personality test, which is exactly what I did. There's this website that allows you to go through a series of questions that will help you figure out what your personality type is, right? So for myself, I am INTG, which is your introverted, intuitive, thinking and judging traits. What I like is that at the end, it gives you different archetypes that also adopt your personality traits. So mine was first my favorite director of all time, Christopher Nolan, Michelle Obama, and also, funny enough, Katniss Everdeen from The Hunger Games, which I thought was very interesting. And from that personality test, I want you to see how you can pick out your different weaknesses and see how you can put a growth mindset into those weaknesses and develop them over time to become a better person overall. And for myself, I adopted a growth mindset by understanding that in terms of my YouTube growth, I'm going to make a lot of mistakes on the way. I need to develop a lot of skills, but I'm not going to let the fact that I'm not confident to speak on camera or that I'm scared of failing to limit me from actually doing it in the first place. Because for a very long time, the reason why I didn't start was because I was scared of the fear of, I had the fear of judgment, I had the fear of not excelling well and basically failing. But then I understood that having a growth mindset is what I needed to get to the next level of actually starting the YouTube channel. You can also have a growth mindset when it comes to entering relationships and choosing the right partner. So typically fixed mindsets, they believe that finding the right partner is just basically accepting the person as they are, like as you met them. But with growth mindsets, you understand the need for change and you can compromise and basically grow together as a couple. So I found that very interesting because when you do go through the book and understand that growth mindsets are everything, your relationships, your work colleagues, the people you want to surround yourself with, it's all very important because you want to attract the same like-minded people. And so to give my final thoughts on the book, I absolutely loved it. It's important for people who want to develop their personal or professional lives. What I like is that it also teaches you how to focus on the concept of having a growth mindset and fixed mindset. I feel like I've said that quite a lot now, but basically it just elaborates on that, on those points by giving different examples throughout the book, like different sports people or different entrepreneurs who have adopted that growth mindset despite their failures and despite all the setbacks that they had throughout their journey. The only negative that I would have with the book is that it did feel quite repetitive. So I would say, like, once I was halfway through the book, I knew that the author was trying to just instill the importance of understanding what a growth mindset was, but I just found it to be quite repetitive, and I started to lose a bit of interest towards the middle of the book. But then it picked up again towards the end where Carol started speaking more about why it's important to have a growth mindset, in which situations you can actually have a growth mindset in. And if mindset really is something that you struggle with, I highly suggest that you guys pick up this book by Carol Dweck. I really hope you guys enjoyed that book review, and I hope you pick it up in your spare time and have a read through it. But until then, like, comment and subscribe, share the video, and enjoy, guys.